This is Rob Tubber for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined as always by Jamie Moore. We're here in a rather lovely setting in New York ahead of Tommy Coyle's bout with Chris Algieri on the Anthony Joshua-Ruiz undercard. Now that's all out of the way. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm alright, Rob, are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you, not too bad. Nice to see you as always. Talk to me about the fight. Tommy Coyle is in there talking to anybody that will give him 2 minutes with a big smile on his face because he gets to box at Madison Square Garden.
Exactly. He's you look at Tommy's career and he's given the fans so much enjoyment and entertainment over the years. He's put his heart and soul into it. He's probably overachieved in some people's eyes, but seeing the work ethic and the stuff, the amount of work he puts into it behind the scenes, it's all come from hard work and perseverance. He's had a lot of setbacks along the way, but he's stuck to it, and he's ended up in Madison Square Garden on the undercard to Anthony Joshua in a fight which, it's a very tough fight. It's Chris Algieri is a ex-world champion. He's huge for the weight. It's got its dangers to fight, but I feel it's also got there's a few windows of opportunity. There's a few areas where Tommy can manipulate and take advantage. So it's a great fight, and as usual for Tommy Coyle, people who come and watch him and his fans, it'll be an exciting fight.
You mentioned about Chris Algieri. He's boxed at a high level. He's fought like Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, everyone remembers that war with Ruslan Provodnikov. Retired. I think he went into being a nutritionist. I mean, you mentioned he's big at the weight. That's part of the reason why he is so big at the weight. He has a good understanding of that side of things. But he hasn't been the most active in recent times. Is that something that you feel you can exploit?
Of course. Anyone who's been out of the ring for a couple of years, like it was nearly 2 years, and then comes back and comes down in weight at that age, has to have an effect. I've been in this game for quite a while, and I've seen it happen many a times. I'm sure he feels like he can do it and do it well, and as you say, he's a nutritionist, so he will he'll have the best ideas about how to do it, but the ideas about doing it and actually physically putting your body through it is two different things. Tommy's the opposite way. He sort of was a natural lightweight for many years, was stuck in between a little bit, and then he's filled out into a big, strong light welterweight, but he's healthy at the weight, and that's a big difference. Now, that's obviously not the game plan, but that's going to be part of the reason I feel he can win this fight, is because the second part of the fight is the part where if you are tight at the weight and there is issues with struggling to make the weight and lack of energy, that's where it's going to take its toll. Whereas Tommy is always notoriously gritty and determined and fit and strong down the stretch. So yeah, there's obviously more aspects to winning the fight than just that, but that's certainly one of the big ones for me.
Now, you've mentioned there Tommy coming up from lightweight to light welterweight. Historically, Tommy throughout his career has been hurt to the body a lot. Do you believe that going up in weight to 140 pounds will kind of ease that? I mean, when it gets tough to the body, when you're tight at the weight, as you've just mentioned about Chris Algieri, that's kind of where you're most susceptible.
I think that was the main reason why he was susceptible to body shots. That and his disregard for defence sometimes. He's always doesn't help, but being tight at the weight is a killer when you get it downstairs. It doesn't sound a lot, but £5 when there's not £5 to come off, certainly it takes its toll. So I think that's definitely an issue, and he's sturdier, without a doubt. He's sturdier at light welterweight than he was at lightweight.
Now, we all saw Tommy's ups and downs throughout his career and culminating and winning the Commonwealth title. A lot of people kind of looked at that as his, I would say, crowning moment, but certainly it's a difficult way to put it, but certainly a significant moment in his career. One or two people thought that could potentially be a good way to bow out. He's not. Is this his swan song? Is this his one hit at kind of top, as we've mentioned already, boxing on an Anthony Joshua undercard? Is this kind of his, I don't want to say farewell fight, but something similar to that?
Well, you've got to see, look at it from Tommy's point of view. You're right. A lot of people saw that winning the Commonwealth title as he's hitting the mountain peak. He wasn't going to get any higher than that, and he feels that, or he felt that himself. He certainly thought that fight. He was talked beforehand if he won that fight, he was going to retire, and he did contemplate retirement. But he felt like he had a little bit more left to give, and so look at it from this point of view. He's reached his own goal, his own mountaintop. He has nothing else to prove to himself. All he can now do is go and enjoy himself, and with no expectation from anyone else. And certainly in a fight like this against Chris Algieri, ex-world champion, everyone's expecting Chris to win. So Tommy's going into this fight confident, healthy. He's already achieved everything he wanted to achieve, and now he gets the opportunity to box somewhere where he never thought he'd box, on the undercard to Anthony Joshua. He's a big fan of Joshua, so there's loads of reasons for him to be so excited about this, and sort of forget the pressures of having to win. So, and that, a lot of the time, that brings the best out of people. It really does. So I can see he's got a real spring in his step. You can imagine he's walking around New York trying to bag people left, right and centre. That's his party trick. And he's just enjoying the moment. And it's good to see, because I've seen him in the past over the years stressed out, worrying about, can I win this fight? Am I good enough? He's always questioned himself. And as he's got older, he's realised, not to overthink it and just sort of relax and enjoy the moment. And that's what he's doing.
Now, I think it'd be unfair to compare fighters, so I'm going to try and steer around it where possible. Obviously, you've been involved with Rocky Fielding, going over and winning the WBA regular against Tyron Zoiga, your exploits with Carl Frampton. Where would this rank if Tommy was able to pull off a win against a former world champion at Madison Square Garden, given everything that Tommy's gone through throughout his career? Where would this rank for you personally as a coach?
You see, I try not to set any sort of goals or ambitions for myself as a coach, because that's really not the reason I'm in this. The reason I'm doing this is to help the fighters achieve whatever they want to do, and so it's not really my goals or aspirations, it's theirs, and so all I can do is do my best to help them. Now, Tommy's obviously wants to win this fight and put on a great show. He's notoriously in great fights and involved in fights where it entertains the fans. My job as the coach is to try and steer him away from that and get him to stick to the game plan, which is the most difficult. The difficult part of training Tommy. The difficult part about training Tommy is not getting him to do sprints or train hard. He actually thrives off that. He loves it. The difficult part is to get him to stick to the game plan. He's doing it more the older he's got and the more experience he's got, but it's still not a foregone conclusion that he's going to do it. But that makes him exciting. So if he gets this win at the weekend, as a friend, I'll be so happy for him. Not as a coach and anything on my behalf to feel like I've achieved something myself. For him to go and come and fight in New York and get a win, for him, it'll be the icing on the cake to a career what he never really thought he'd have. So I'll be happy for him as a person, as a man, because I've never met a more dedicated athlete than Tommy Coyle. You might have met better fighters than him, but you won't meet anyone more dedicated than him.
And that's well said. We've mentioned his name, Carl Frampton. We're kind of waiting for an announcement with Carl's return to the ring. I know he's had some outside of the ring issues that have kind of held up his return to the ring. What can you tell us about that?
It was looking like it's going to be August. Should be an announcement pretty soon. Actually, he's over there, Carl. Actually, you might get a word with him. It's looking like probably around about the middle of August, and probably over here in America. So I probably can't say too much more than that. But yeah, it's looking like this will be the last stage of his career now. He'll probably have another 18 months or so, and Carl's achieved a hell of a lot. And the Josh Warrington fight was a fantastic fight for the fans to watch, but he made mistakes early on, which he paid for the price for as the fight went on. His decision making wasn't great early on. He understands that, and the reason he's fighting again is because he knows the mistakes he made, and he wants to try and sort of put them wrong. He wants to try and right them wrongs. He's a bit of annoyed with himself that he let himself down a little bit early on, but he certainly didn't let himself down as a whole in the fight. You couldn't have asked for any more dedication and sort of grit and determination in that fight. It was an unbelievable fight to watch, but he can perform better than that. He is a more disciplined athlete than that, and maybe he didn't respect Josh Warrington's power enough early on in the fight. I think that certainly was an issue, and if they got to do that fight again, I'm sure he'd navigate that early part of the fight certainly better. But you can't take anything away from Josh Warrington. He established his authority on the fight and won the fight fair and square. It was a terrific performance.
Just staying with that, how do you see Josh Warrington versus Kid Galahad going?
A lot of people I speak to say, Kid Galahad's all wrong for him. I actually think it's the opposite. I think Josh Warrington's style's all wrong for Kid Galahad. I think that sort of style, the Ingle style, is so awkward and they're very good at dictating the pace and keeping the distance. And Josh, the best attribute Josh has got is not allowing somebody to dictate the pace. He actually forces himself on and dictates it. I think he's punching harder the more mature he's getting. So yeah, I think Josh is all wrong for him. I don't think it'll be an easy fight, but I think it'll be clear win on points by 3 or 4 rounds, and I think it'll be very competitive. I actually think, Kid Galahad's got a lot of fans, and he's got a lot of doubters as well, and I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong. I think he'll put in a real good performance, but I just think he'll fall a little bit short.
From one small Josh to one big Josh, how do you see Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz going in the main? Did you like what I did there? I like the smile on the face.
Yeah, you must have done this before. I think Ruiz, he's not a bad fighter. He doesn't look great, physically doesn't look great, but he can fight. But the old cliche styles make fights. I think if he comes looking for Anthony Joshua and tries to apply pressure, he's going to find himself in trouble. Anthony Joshua is one of the hardest punching heavyweights, as time may tell us ever. So I think he'll probably do well early on. He'll be a bit hustly and bustly, apply a little bit of pressure, but I think inevitably he'll walk into something big.
Okay, well, just before I go, there is something that I would like to talk to you about. The entire boxing world, we're very, very saddened to hear about your old coach, Oliver Harrison, somebody who I know had such a big influence on you and many, many other fighters, sadly passed away recently. First of all, my condolences to you, because I don't understand, which is kind of the point, how close you guys were. Just final word on Oliver Harrison and kind of the legacy that he leaves behind. I think when somebody passes away, it's a real testament to them, the amount of people who come out and speak so positively, and that was pretty much case in point with Oliver Harrison. Yeah,
I think part of the reason why he maybe didn't get the credit and respect he deserved when he was actually coaching was because he didn't really want it that way. He liked to be in the background. He didn't want any sort of fuss made around him, and I always liked that and respected that about him. As time goes on, I feel like his legacy will grow, and people will sort of look back on him and realise even more so what a great coach he was. Not just a great boxing coach, but a great person to be around, and he taught me so much stuff outside of boxing, about in life in general, and he was sort of like another dad to me. And sometimes you don't realise how important someone was to you until you lose them, and it has been a tough period of time for me, Martin, Rocky, anyone who was lucky enough to be privileged to have him around me for them, for so many years. And I had at least 2 years early on when I first started to be coached by Oliver full time, where I basically had him to myself, and 2 years one-on-one with someone like that is 10 years. I took so much from him, and I'm just thankful that I got that opportunity to be nurtured and coached by him. And my goal from this point on is to do him proud and to carry his legacy forward, and always sort of represent him and carry his name forward, and not let people forget him, because he was a great person, and he was an unbelievable coach.
Any in particular one moment that sticks out from Oliver, your time with him?
So the one thing what's popped straight into my head is that in between rounds when I got dropped twice off Michael Jones, and he says to me, "Don't you dare do that again." And that'll always be the one thing what sticks in my head. But mind on your job, those little sayings and those little cliches what he had, just sort of trigger you on, and I've took that on myself, and I use that on myself. And I try and find little phrases or cliches to spark the lads into action. And his was breathe and work and minding your job, and those will always be little phrases what I always use with the lads, and that's what will keep his legacy alive.
Okay, well, Jamie Watt, do appreciate your time and appreciate you sharing that memory with us. Always a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, and look forward to seeing Tommy Coyle in action on Saturday night.
Me too, thank you very much.
Nice one. Appreciate it.